Hey, what's going on, everybody? Leigh Dickey here, and welcome back to another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. On today's episode, I tell you the story of someone asking for a gift back that they gave me for my birthday. I know we're right around Christmas, but this person asked for a gift back that they gave me for my birthday, and funny enough, they asked for it around Christmas time the very same year. But before we get into the bulk of the episode, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Of course, you can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on YouTube under Beats and Speaks. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. You can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, my official website, LeighTDickey.com. I'm sure you can find it on your favorite podcatcher app and everywhere else podcasts are available. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into this person asking for a gift back that they gave me for my birthday and asking for it right around Christmas time, right here, right now, on the Beats and Speaks podcast. Alright, so this person asking for the gift back that they gave me was actually a friend of my dad's. And they'd known each other maybe at the point that this person gave me the gift for my birthday, probably more than 30 years, probably almost 40 years, something like that, somewhere in there. Okay? So they've been friends for a long, long time, long before my genetic blueprints were drawn up, long before my parents had met, long before the whole family thing was even a thought. Okay? So they're old friends. And you know, they got along fine from what I knew. My dad still wanted to associate with him. And because he was a friend of my dad's, we all got along. Like, we all met. We all knew each other. And we got along. What can I say, right? So, this happened around my 18th birthday. And I've mentioned this several times in several videos. I'm disabled and I use a walker to get around, but at this time I was sort of in between walkers because those things are rather expensive, and this friend of my dad's was actually living with us in the house that I'm actually recording these episodes from. So he was living here with us, and it was temporary, right? And it was only supposed to be a month. He said a month initially, turned into closer to 2 months. But he was here for a little while, right? And during the time that he lived here, it was fine. I mean, he stayed to himself. We did come together for dinner. We tried to stay out of each other's way as much as possible. But I'd always gotten somewhat of a weird vibe off this guy, because he was just, I'm sure he was, at the time, this person was probably north of 50, right? And, well, my dad, of course, was older, like he was pushing 60 at that point, and around the same age, right? So, he comes to live with us, this friend of my dad's, because his apartment that he's living at is getting renovated and he needs a place to stay. So we're doing him a favor, letting him live here, because he had lived with my family once before in another house that we lived in, so there was that relationship there. And no problem, right? My dad's going to do anything for you. My parents will do anything for you, right? You're an old friend of my dad's. You guys have known each other a long time. Of course, my mom's going to say yes, because he's not a bad guy. At least that's what we all thought. And we let him live here for a couple months. No problem. Now, he's a friend of my dad's, and I try not to associate with, or at that time, I tried not to associate with most of his friends, or just whatever. They're your friends. I have my friends. You have your friends. Let's just stay out of each other's way. But because our schedules were so different, and sometimes they would overlap, so, you know, we'd run into each other, hey, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. He mentions to me one day that he thinks I don't get out enough, or much at all. So I was about 18 at this point, and I was just about to graduate high school. And it's true, I didn't have many friends. I didn't go many places, and even the places that I did get invited to, these like house parties, it's not like you want to keep peeling somebody off the floor because they're super duper drunk. And I was just like, nah, I'm not into that, right? I don't want to be stuck at a house party where all you do is drink and everybody gets made out with except me, right? Because let's face it, back then apparently I wasn't much of a catch, and people still think that all these years later. But I digress. So he says to me, you know what, you don't get out much, you're always on that computer, you're always in your room. And it was true. It was like I didn't get out much. The places I did go, I went to a coffee shop occasionally just to do some work, to get out. And I talked to my friends when they weren't busy, because we were all like at the tail end of high school, going into university and college and things like that. So that whole thing, I didn't get out much, didn't have many friends, and you know, like I just said, the places I got invited to, I really didn't want to go to anymore, because house parties where everybody drinks and gets made out with, and they're not me and not making out with me, and or like I just wasn't having fun, right? So he had a point. Okay, I'll give him that. And one day he walks by my room, because my room is right by the kitchen, so it's probably 2 or 3 feet from my room is the kitchen, and the only kitchen we have in the house is on the main floor, and this guy was actually staying in the basement. So he comes up, gets some food, pokes his head in, hey, what's going on, right? And, you know, I want to be nice. He's a friend of my dad's. We'd known each other for many years. He'd known my dad for almost 40 years at this time that he was living with us. He'd lived with my family once before. So, you know, I want to be nice, like mi casa, su casa, that sort of thing. So we suggest, like, hey, I got to get some food for myself. Why don't you come with me? Let's just get the groceries. I'll give you a lift, whatever. Right? So I say, you know what, fine, sure. We get into his car, and we drive probably 5 minutes to the nearest Shoppers Drug Mart, which is basically one of Canada's big box drugstore chains that we have here, right? They're owned by Loblaws, which is another one of those big box Canadian drugstore chains, if you guys are so wondering. So we go to the Shoppers Drug Mart, and he gets the groceries and whatever, and he mentions that my birthday's coming up, which it was. It's probably like a month or maybe even less than that. 2, 3, 4 weeks away. And that was true. I said, sure. And this particular Shoppers Drug Mart sold medical supplies, like assistive supplies, along with everything else, like your Band-Aids, your humidifiers, and things like that. I said, yeah, my birthday's coming up, so what, right? Oh, you're going to be 18. Yeah, okay, I'm going to be 18, so what? Right? Like, my birthday has never been a big deal to me, right? Like, I've tried to get people to celebrate with me. I have overshot and overestimated my own popularity, because people just seldomly, if ever, show up. And I just, at that point, was like, you know what, my birthday's not a big deal. I don't really care. He's like, your birthday's coming up. Yes, it is. That's true. He takes a cane off the wall. We're in the medical supplies aisle, by the way. And he takes a cane off the wall and hands it to me. He says, well, here you go. Happy birthday. I was gobsmacked. I was flabbergasted. And like I said at the beginning, I was in between walkers because they were rather expensive. Right? My dad had one, and it fell apart. So we were sort of in between walkers at that point for me. And this friend of his says, well, happy birthday. I'm going to get this for you for your birthday. I was gobsmacked, didn't know what to say other than thank you, I really appreciate it. And I did appreciate the gesture. I did appreciate the gift. The fact that this friend of my dad's bought the cane for me for my birthday, and bought the cane for me because he knew I needed help getting around, and a walker is a little bit out of the price range. So a cane is better than nothing. Yes, thank you very much. So we buy it. He gets his groceries. We go home. And I use the cane, of course, right? Until shortly after I got the cane, and shortly after this friend of my dad's moved out and back to his original apartment because they were done with the renovations and such, another friend of mine, and actually an old teacher friend of mine, gave me a walker that had belonged to a friend of his aunt's. So he called me up and said, hey, I've got a walker here. I don't have any use for it. Could you use it? And right away I said yes. Right away it was like, yes, please, thank you. And it's not a knock on the guy that, the friend of my dad's that bought me the cane. It's just that I prefer using a walker because I always have, for one. And two, it offers extra support, right? A cane, I've got one, and there's not much, like if I fall forward, I'm like a fish out of water, you know, I'm a turtle on its back. It's going to take me a while to get up, right? So, using a walker, more support, plus there's something there to catch me if I do slightly jar myself forward and whatnot. So this old teacher friend of mine says, hey, I've got a walker that belonged to a friend of my aunt's, and my aunt had it. I don't have any use for it. Do you want it? Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. So I pick that up and start using the walker. Simply because the extra support, right? So the cane that the friend of my dad's got me for my 18th birthday fell by the wayside. Like, I still had it and would use it, say, around the house, or if I didn't feel like using the walker, even though I use the walker more often, I would use it. So word gets around to this friend of my dad's that I'm not using the cane that he bought me. Then this is toward maybe my birthday's in the spring, so this is probably late November, early December, right around the Christmas season and Christmas time. So he calls me up one day, and I thought he was looking for my old man. He wasn't. He was looking for me. I pick up the phone. Yeah, what's going on? And he says, well, I hear you're not using the cane that I got you. I said, I'm not using it much. I am using it, but I'm using it sparingly, right? And he said, well, since you're not using it and you've got a walker now, or a new walker at least, can I have it back? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you say your birthday's coming up, I'll buy this for you because you need it to help you get around for your birthday, that's a gift, right? As far as I know, that's a gift. And you don't ask for, no sane person would ask for a gift back. Of course, I said no sane person. Clearly this person, this friend of my dad's at the time and probably still now, is not sane. But he said, can I have the cane back? Now, I must have skipped school that day where they said that if someone asks you for a cane or for a gift that they gave you back, that was okay. That was perfectly fine. Where on earth, what in the wild, wild world of sports is going on? Where on earth, in what country, in what life, on what planet is asking for a gift that, say, you gave to somebody and then asking for it back. Where, why, how is that even okay? I'll even shorten the answer for you. It's not. Alright? It's not okay to ask for a gift that you gave somebody back. It is so not cool. So, this friend of my dad's asks for the cane back. And I just sort of was taken back by it. Yeah, I'm not using it as often as I used to because I had the walker that was gifted to me from another friend of mine. And it was an incredibly nice gesture. And I said when my dad's friend bought me the cane, I said thank you very much because I wasn't expecting it. You know what I mean? Thank you for buying the cane and for wanting to help me out with the getting around part. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But when he asked me for the cane back, I was like, I was taken back. It was like, yeah, okay, I understand that I'm not using it much, but that's because I prefer the walker because it offers more support. And I very bluntly and just point blank said, no, I'm not giving you the cane back. And I even asked him, I said, why are you asking me for the cane back? He said, well, another friend of mine who, mind you, is a capable adult and can easily make phone calls and go to another shopper's or medical supply store and pick up a cane themselves. Keep in mind, this cane that the friend of my dad's bought me was no more than $30 or $35. And it's not the price point that I'm completely gobsmacked about or upset about, or at least I was upset about it at the time. It just threw me for a loop. Like, who in the world, who in their right mind would ask for a gift back that they gave to somebody? I was just like, you don't do that. It's just something you don't do. It is a gift. You give it, the person takes it, and you both move on to other things. Granted, that may not be the case always, but that's what I thought would happen, right? So, he asks for the cane back. I say no, and then he tells me, oh, well, my friend says that he's having problems with his mobility, yet he can't, you know, he needs it to move around because he's had surgery and he's in pain, blah, blah, blah. It's not that I'm not sympathetic to the friend of his, to this friend of my dad's, to the friend of a friend of my dad's. Okay, I'm not sympathetic. It's not that I'm not sympathetic to this man, but he can pick up a phone himself. He can make the phone calls. He can go to the shoppers. He is more than capable of getting off his butt, getting off his ass, and making the trip himself to either a Shoppers Drug Mart, another medical supply store, his doctor, and getting a prescription or whatever, picking up the cane or assistive device himself. He has the capability to walk with no problems. So don't tell me this sob story when I know this friend of a friend of my dad's is more than capable of taking care of themselves, going to pick up a cane themselves or any other assistive device with no issue. This friend of a friend of my dad's was just lazy. He just wouldn't get off his ass. He wouldn't move. He didn't want to go anywhere. It's like, boss, I'm not giving you the cane back that you gave me for my birthday just so you can turn around and give it to this friend of yours who we don't know. And even then, you might make a profit off of it. You might actually want to sell it to this friend of yours. So no, I'm not giving you the cane back. And he was just like, well, why not? You're not using it. Yeah, I'm not using it as much. I'm still using it, you know, sometimes around the house, or if I don't feel like using the walker as much because my legs feel up to it, I'll use the cane. But yes, I use the walker more because it offers more support. And no, for the millionth time, I'm not giving you the cane back. It's exactly what I said. I'm not giving you the cane back. You gave that to me for my birthday, mind you, as a birthday gift. You even said that to me. And yet, here we are, 7-8 months later, around Christmas time, and you want it back from me now. You want a gift back from me. So you give a gift to me that I need so I can actually get around a little easier. You give a gift to me for my 18th birthday at this time, and here we are 7-8 months later around Christmas time. Okay? We go from my birthday and getting the cane as a gift to Christmas, another season and time of the year for gifts, and you're asking me for the cane back. Yeah. Where? What? Have you lost your mind? Like, where in the world? Where? Somebody tell me, in what country, on what planet, in what city, in what town is it okay to give someone a gift for their birthday or at all, okay, and then ask for it not just around Christmas time, but at any time during the year or your lifetime? It's not. I know I've repeated myself several times, but I'm just trying to drive the point home. It's not okay to give someone a gift and then ask for it back, whether it be months, years, or even if you place that in your will. It's not okay to ask for the gift back. It's not okay. I wasn't okay with it then. I'm not okay with it now. When that friend of my dad's asked for the cane back, I cut him out completely. I was like, no, I'm not giving it back to you. Listen, gotta go. And I hung up. I told my parents that. They cut him out. Okay? And I felt bad for my dad because he'd been friends with this guy for almost 40 years. But I was also proud of him because I guess I'm his son and he stuck up for me, right? So they cut him out. I said no more. I don't want anything to do with him. He's scum. I don't want to deal with him. He's dead to me. Right? Like, I don't want him in the house. I don't want him to call. Nothing. I don't want him to show up. I don't want to see him again. Nothing. And it pissed me off. I was just, this is not cool. I do not appreciate it. And this guy's just a dumbass. He's completely out of his mind. He's an idiot. You know, he's a blanking idiot. I'm actually thankful that I managed to censor myself there because I'm getting a little worked up about it even all these years later. But he's just stupid, right? And I'm just thankful that my parents cut him out, that I cut him out. And it's still, I am gobsmacked to this day that this friend of my dad's had given me a cane to help me with my mobility, whether it be around the house or around the city of Toronto, only 2 months later, ask for it back. Now, I understand that I got a walker from another friend of mine, and I prefer using the walker, so maybe, maybe that made him jealous. I don't know. Okay? Maybe he thought he was being replaced, but let's face it, he was a friend of my dad's before he was a friend of me. And even then, I cut him out. My parents cut him out. I couldn't believe it. When he asked me for the cane back, I lost my mind. I completely lost it. I hung up the phone and I went down to my basement where I keep a heavy bag and just put in a few rounds because I was so worked up and I obliterated my heavy bag. I was so ticked off. Because nobody in their right mind would give someone a gift for their birthday or at any point, and then months, years, weeks, whatever, ask for it back. I mean, when somebody gives you a gift, you say thank you. When you give somebody a gift, they say thank you. You know? And then you guys move on to something else, another topic of conversation, or whatever. But you don't ask for it back, whether it be days, weeks, months, years later. I don't even care if it's in your will. You're not getting it back. I'm not giving it back to you. Not cool. Not having it. I'm just glad I haven't seen this guy since then. I haven't heard from him at all. And my life is better for it. But this guy, I mean, I don't even care how long he had known my old man. You know, I don't care how long he had known my parents. But he is scum to me. And he is dead to me. He's a total scumbag. A total dirtbag. Total whatever else. Insert descriptive word here about this friend of my dad's. Or former friend of my dad's. Now, I was completely blown away. Completely gobsmacked that this person would ask. And that's just my experience and opinion on anyone asking for a gift back that they give to somebody. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Again, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. But that's it for another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. I have been your host, Leigh Dickey. And remember, you can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on YouTube by searching Beats and Speaks. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. You can find the Beats and Speaks podcast on my official website, LeighTDickey.com, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and everywhere else fine podcasts are available. Check it out on your favorite podcatcher app as well. And we will see you guys next time. Remember, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Review the podcast. Find all the episodes on my official website, LeighTDickey.com. And this wraps up another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. Again, I'm Leigh Dickey, and we will see you all in the next one. All right, I'm out of here. We'll talk later. Peace.